Yo, what's up? It's Anna Sabramowitz here, and I help instructional designers and multimedia developers craft interactive stories. All right, today what I'm going to talk to you about is reserving the judgment, crafting amazing interactive scenario questions, and how to do that well. Because the reason that I'm bringing this up is because I was just experiencing a award-winning demo, and they violated the rules. They broke the rules. They judged their learners before they let them learn. Let's fix that. All right, here, I know I'm all drama right now, but listen, if you're loving the drama, you want more of this. I'm running a free training on this and more on integrating storytelling into your work, on the frameworks that I use. You want more of this? Go to elearningsecrets.com and sign up. It's pretty awesome. Okay, so, and if somebody could put that in the comments for me, that would be fantastic. By the way, I don't respond to your comments while I'm doing this live. However, what's awesome is I do go back and check all your comments and review them and answer and, interact with you there. So if some of this causes some sort of other questions or anything else to come up, I'd love to hear it. Don't be shy. Post it in the comments. I love hearing from you. It makes me feel like I'm not alone. All right, okay, let's get to this. Okay, so let me just give you the framework that was used to present these questions, which is pretty standard, right? What really is a scenario? And let's just get back. I'm going back to the basics here, but it seems you got to go back to the basics because it helps. I want to drive this point home because I never want to see a scenario question ever again violate this rule, okay? So, because this is a hard stop rule for me. I do not negotiate on this. So, let's just go for it. Okay, so what's a scenario? This is a scenario, and in its basis term, it's a situation that causes a character a dilemma, right? So it's a situation that needs to be solved. Now, this is text. Like, this isn't anything fancy. This isn't VR or anything right now. Right now, this is just text. This is me going, Jim walks into the room and sees 5 people there. What should he do next based on his goal or objective or whatever, or his big desire, right? So what is that? So I set it up, right? And then I say, what happens next? What happens next is I give Jim 3 options, as in you, but you're really Jim. You're not Jim, but you're Jim. So Jim now has 3 options, right? He could talk to Bob. He could run out of the room, or he could talk to Jill. So at this point, what I'm doing is one of the most engaging things that a person could do in the world, which is make a decision. This thing, in fact, is so sexy, this decision making, that if you look at the essence of your day, it is a culmination of all the decisions you've made today. So do not discount the power of me putting a decision in front of you, because you are loving it, you do it every day, and you love having choice. But not too much choice, because this is not infinite choice. We don't have infinite choice every day. This is Jim's choice, right? And I'm steering this very much. Like the options I put here, they're very strategic. They're not just randomness. These are choices. The right one is based on maybe the right course of action, but the other 2 are based on mistakes and assumptions people make in the field, or practitioners make in the field, or newbies make in the field, that I want to bring out here. Because one of the big pieces of your scenario is to address that, right? Address those beliefs. Because sometimes it's not about, following procedures, because then everybody would be doing their job. Sometimes it's about what you believe about that procedure, what you believe about yourself, the things that you believe, and I got to make sure those are represented here. So that's why I got to talk to people who are actually living the struggle, because then they give me this juicy stuff, right? So these are my options. And of course, one of The right way is easy for me to get from an expert, right? They'll tell you the right way because that's what they know. And the wrong ways, the assumptions and things like that are great to get from people who are practitioners in the field or recently just learned this. They'll tell you where they messed up and why. So that's the good stuff. So this is solid, but it is not complete. And this is where this award-winning thing messed up major for me, pissed me off. I was like, come on, don't do this to me. So this is what they did. So they were like, okay, here's a situation. What are you gonna do, right? And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna do this. When I chose this, it led me to the next screen. And you know what the next screen did? Slapped my wrist. Went, no, did you think about this? That's the wrong answer. Or it gave me what this person might be thinking. So it would be going, so let's say my option is talk to Bob. Their consequence would be, that's not what Bob wants. This is wrong. Try again. Now there's something wrong with that. What's wrong with that? I don't know if you guys are, if you've been guilty of this, put hashtag guilty. I've been guilty of this. Because what I did here is I skipped the part where people get to experience that's not what Bob wants for themselves. I don't need you to tell me. I don't need you to correct me right away. I made a decision, and the way a perfect scenario works is you don't tell me if it's right or wrong. You show me what happens as a result of my actions. That's the key. That's a powerful scenario. That's a powerful learning experience. Remember your mom told you, don't touch the iron, don't touch the iron, you burn yourself. How many of you have actually burnt yourself just that once on the iron and never ever had your mom had to repeat it again? Consequences are powerful. We learn from them. Do not ever rob your adult learners from drawing on their own experience, feelings, and experiencing that. And then, you might say, okay, but what if they don't get that whatever Bob does is actually not a good outcome? Well, that's cool. You can follow up. You can put another situation in front of them or culminate, a whole bunch of decisions. And, you're getting this outcome from Bob, talking to Bob this way. Is this going the right way? Are the consequences leading you where you want? So you want to make that as self-reflective as possible. So instead of doing this slapping and judging, like, no, you did that wrong, try again, which basically I'm just going to click the buttons to get to the right answer because I'm not thinking about anything right now except the fact that you've insulted me. So what you're going to do is, this is how I do it. So let's say the right answer is talk to Bob, right? Whatever. So this is the right answer. The right answer is talk to Bob. These ones suck. These ones lead you to a terrible outcome. Talk to Bob. And then when I say talk to Bob, then I get to experience what talking to Bob is like. So Bob says, I have, and you actually see, let's say you can write this. This is all text, right? I've got some ideas. Here they are. Like maybe that's what you were walking into the room for, to actually get some ideas, right? But then you were afraid. If you run out, you were afraid. Then you actually say you can actually show the consequence of what's happening. So let's say I run out, right? You don't have to, there's no rules here in the consequences. If let's say somebody's really if they consistently run out of meetings because they're intimidated by pitching an idea or asking for help, you don't have to show what happens right after. You can actually show what happens after 6 months. And you can say, 6 months later, you lost your job. That's an example, but you can compress time. and show, hey, for this one, for this running out, let's say, the most powerful consequence is something I can show them how this culminates over time, right? Or with Bob, it might be right away, because it's so immediate. The feedback in the real life is so immediate that it works. Or even if talking to Bob, I want to show the 6-month consequence of it, I could say, Bob, then 6 months later, I could show 6 months later, Bob comes into your office and says, hey, you're always asking me for great ideas. What about this? And he talks to you first, right? So maybe what we've done is we've shown them that creating rapport with Bob over time is actually something that will, in 6 months, culminate into a great relationship, and you finding out things first, right? And then if it's needed, if it's actually needed, then you can add feedback, but you add it after and you separate it. That's very important too. You have to separate the feedback from the consequence. Sometimes I see this, I've seen it in other ones where you'll get the consequence, like let's say it's written, like Judy cried, and then right underneath, you shouldn't have done that because of. Separate the two. Let the person simmer a little bit. Let them think, let them reflect, right? So here, what you're doing is, like, this to me, even without feedback, this is a complete experience. The feedback, you can save it for later, depends on how extreme your consequences are. I say in the world of e-learning, where everything is with this screen between you and your learner, or your e-learning and your learner, there's a bit of a dilution of emotion, right? So as far as I'm concerned, you want to amp that up as much as possible so they feel things. Emotions aren't commonplace. So if you can amp this up, you can amp up the failure, you can amp up the emotions here that Jim's facing. He's so insecure, whatever, right? That's the stuff that'll get you the ahas. That's the stuff that'll get you people thinking about what they do. It's really is about giving them this moment of doubt, because we learn from our failures. We learn from those bad experiences. We learn from having our hand touch the iron, right? And then what happens is that leaves a certain kind of discomfort and a gap, and they want to then learn more. And then whatever feedback you have, if it says, you haven't, based on this, you should check out the policy, they'll be more likely now to read that policy because you've actually made it relevant to them as far as, can my question be answered? Can my void be filled by learning this information? If you've done it well, absolutely. So, you want to learn more about this, frameworks, storytelling, all this stuff, elearningsecrets.com. Come on, hang out. We've got a live session coming probably very, very soon. I hope to see you there. And if you have any questions, as I said, post them in the comments. Also, if you like this, or if you think that somebody is violating this law of the scenario, then share this with them. I mean, we're not judging here. We're actually trying to make the world a better place by having our learners have more aha moments so they can have more action, take more action towards behavior change. That's the goal, right? It's not about putting out stuff. It's about putting out stuff that actually makes a difference. So don't be shy and share it. All right? Okay. So have a wonderful rest of the day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.